Welcome to this profound exploration of the transformative power of our internal dialogue. I am Neville Goddard, and today we will delve into a topic that has the potential to completely revolutionize our lives: the art of self-talk. Engaging in self-talk is a habit we all indulge in. We could no more cease talking to ourselves than we could stop eating and drinking. All we can do is control the nature and direction of our internal conversation. Most of us are entirely unaware of the fact that our internal conversations are the causes of the circumstances of our life. We are told that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, but we know that man's thinking follows the tracks laid down in his own inner conversations. To change the rails to which he is tied in the direction he wishes to go, he must abandon his former conversation, which in the Bible is called the old man, and be renewed in the spirit of his mind. Speech is the image of the mind, therefore, to change your mind, you must first change your speech. By speech, we mean those mental conversations we hold with ourselves. The world is a magic circle of infinite possible mental transformations, for there is an infinite number of possible mental conversations. By discovering the creative power of internal conversation, you will understand your function and mission in life. Then you will be able to act with purpose. Without such knowledge, you act unconsciously. Everything is a manifestation of the mental conversations occurring in us without our being aware of them. But as civilized beings, we must become aware of them and act with purpose. A man's mental conversations attract his life. As long as there is no change in his internal conversation, the personal history of the man remains the same. Trying to change the world before changing our internal conversation is to struggle against the very nature of things. Man can walk in circles of disappointments and misfortunes, not seeing that they are caused by his own negative internal conversation, but attributing them to others. This may seem exaggerated, but it is a matter that lends itself to investigation and experimentation. The formula that the chemist illustrates is no more certainly provable than the formula of this science by which words are clothed in objective reality. Allow me to share a personal story to illustrate this point. One day, a young woman told me about her difficulties working with her employer. She was convinced that she was being unfairly criticized and her best efforts rejected. Upon hearing her story, I explained that if she considered her employer unfair, it was a clear sign that she herself needed a new topic of internal conversation. There was no doubt that she was mentally arguing with her employer, for others only echo what we whisper to them in secret. She confessed that she mentally argued with her employer all day. When she realized what she was doing, she agreed to change her internal conversations with her employer. She imagined that her employer had complimented her on her excellent work and that she, in turn, thanked her for the praise and kindness. To her great satisfaction, she soon discovered that her own internal conversation was the cause of everything that happened to her. Her employer's behavior reversed; it echoed, as it always had, our mental conversations with her. I rarely see a person alone without wondering, to what conversation is she tied? On what mysterious thread is she walking? We must begin to live consciously, for the solution to all problems lies precisely in this. The second man, the Lord come from heaven, is in all of us. He is trying to become self-conscious in the body so that he can attend to his Father's business. What are his works? To imitate his Father, to become master of the Word, master of his internal conversation, so that he can mold this world of ours in the likeness of the kingdom of love. The prophet said, "Be imitators of God as beloved children." How do I imitate God? Well, we are told that God calls things that are not seen as if they were seen, and the invisible becomes visible. This is how the young woman evoked praise and kindness from her employer. She maintained an imaginary conversation with her employer based on the assumption that she had praised her, and so it happened. How would I use my word to help a friend? I would imagine that I am hearing their voice, that they are physically present, that my hand is on them. Then I would congratulate them on their good fortune. I would say that I have never seen them look so well. I would hear, as if I were really hearing, that they tell me they have never felt better, never been happier. And I would know that in that loving communion with another, a communion replete with loving thoughts and feelings, my word was sent and will not return to me empty, but will prosper in that for which I send it. Now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation. Only what is done now is what counts, though its effects may not be visible until tomorrow. We do not call out loud, but by an internal effort of intense attention, to listen attentively as if we really heard. It is to create the events and relationships of life. Your words become visible. Many of us rob others of the will and ability to be kind and generous due to our fixed attitudes towards them. Our attitudes unfold within us in the form of mental conversations. Speaking from premises of a realized desire is the way to consciously create circumstances. Our internal conversations are perpetually projected into the external world, whether in sadness or happiness. Therefore, what we wish to see and hear externally, we must see and hear internally, for the manifested world shows us the use we made of the word. If you practice this art of speaking internally in a controlled manner, you will also feel the emotion of being able to say, "And now I have told you before it happens, so that when it happens, you may believe." You will be able to consciously use your imagination to transform and channel the immense creative energies of your internal speech from the mental-emotional level to the physical level. And I don't know what limits, if any, there are to such a process. What is your goal? Is your internal conversation aligned with it? It needs to be. Do you know if you want to achieve your goal? Or as the prophet asked, can two walk together if they are not in agreement? And of course, the answer is no, they cannot. The two that must agree are your internal conversation and the desired state. That is, what you wish to see and hear externally, you must see and hear internally. Imagine your desire realized. Converse internally from the point of view of your realized desire. All other processes are then simply acts of clear imagination and intention. We imagine the desire realized and maintain mental conversations from that premise. The correct internal speech is the speech that would be yours if you had realized your ideal. In other words, it is the speech of the realized desire. Now you will understand how wise the ancient was when he told us in the Hermetic that there are two gifts that God granted only to men and to no other mortal creature. Those two are mind and speech, and the gift of mind and speech is equivalent to that of the immortals. If a man uses these two gifts correctly, he will differ in nothing from the immortals. And when he leaves his body, mind and speech will be his guides, and by them he will be led to the group of gods and souls who have attained bliss. With the gift of mind and speech, you create the conditions and circumstances of life. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word, said Hermes, is the Son, and the mind is the Father of the Word. They are not separate from each other, for life is the union of word and mind. You and your internal conversation, or word, are one. If your mind is aligned with your internal conversation, then to be transformed in mind is to be transformed in conversation. It was a flash of the deepest perception that led Paul to write, "Put off the old conversation of the old man which is corrupt, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind." Put on the new man. To put on the new man and be renewed in the spirit of the mind is to change your internal conversation. For speech and mind are one. A change of speech is a change of mind. The prophet Samuel said, "The Lord spoke by me, and his word was on my tongue. Look, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil, blessings and curses. Choose life." The conditions and circumstances of life are not created by some external power. You are them. They are the resulting conditions of the exercise of your freedom of choice, your freedom to choose the ideas to which you will respond. Now is the accepted time. This is the day of salvation. Everything that is of good report, think on these things, for your future will be formed by the Word of God, which is your current internal conversation. You create your future through your internal conversation. The worlds were shaped by the Word of God, that is, your internal conversation. Look, in the fields the sowing was of barley, the corn was corn. Silence and darkness knew it. Thus is born the faith of a man, for the ends are faithful to the origin. If you want to reap success, you must plant success. The idea in your mind that initiates the whole process is the idea that you accept as true. It is very important to understand this, for truth depends on the intensity of the imagination, not on the facts. When the young woman imagined that her employer was unfair, her behavior confirmed her imagination. When she changed her assumption about her, her behavior reflected the change, proving that an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will concretize into fact. The mind always acts according to the assumption with which it begins. Therefore, to experience success, we must assume that we are successful. We must live entirely at the level of imagination, and this must be done consciously and deliberately. It doesn't matter if at the present moment external facts deny the truth of your assumption. If you persist in your assumption, it will become a fact. Signs follow, they do not precede. To assume a new concept of yourself is, in this sense, to change your internal conversation or word of God, and therefore, it is to put on the new man. Our internal conversation, though not heard by others, is more productive for future conditions than all the audible promises and threats of men. Your ideal is waiting to be embodied, but unless you yourself offer it human kinship, it is incapable of being born. You must define the person you wish to be and then assume the feeling of your realized desire, with faith that that assumption will find expression through you. The true test of religion is in its use. Many may have made of it something to defend. It is to you that the words are said, "Blessed is she who believed, for there will be a fulfillment of those things which were told her by the Lord." Test. Experiment. Conceive as the one you wish to be and remain faithful to that conception, for life here is only a training ground for the creation of images. Experiment and see if life does not mold itself to the model of your imagination. Everything in the world is testimony to the use or abuse of man's internal conversation. Negative internal conversations are the fertile ground for the future battlefields and penitentiaries of the world. By habit, man has developed a secret affection for these negative internal conversations. Through them, he justifies failures, criticizes his neighbors, rejoices in the suffering of others, and, in general, pours out his venom. And all that misuse of the word perpetuates the violence of the world. The transformation of the self requires that we meditate on a specific phrase, a phrase that implies that our ideal has been realized, and that we affirm it internally repeatedly until we are internally affected by its implication, until we are possessed by it. Stand firm in your noble internal conversations or convictions. Nothing can take them from you except yourself. Nothing can prevent them from becoming objective facts. All things are generated from your imagination by the Word of God, which is your own internal conversation, and all imagination reaps its own words that it spoke internally. The great secret of success is a controlled internal conversation, starting from premises of realized desire. The only price you pay for success is to give up your previous conversation, which belongs to the old man, to the unsuccessful man. The time is ripe for many of us to consciously assume the responsibility of creating heaven on earth. To consciously and willingly use our imagination to internally hear and say only what is in harmony with our ideal is to actively bring heaven to earth. Every time we lovingly exercise our imagination for the benefit of another, we are literally mediating God for that person. Always use your imagination masterfully, as a participant, not as a spectator. By using your imagination, you transfer energy from the mental-emotional level to the physical level. Extend your senses and imagine that you are seeing what you wish to see, that you are hearing what you wish to hear, and touching what you wish to touch. Become intensely aware of doing it. Give your imaginary state all the tones and sensations of reality. Continue doing it until you awaken in yourself the climate of realization and the feeling of relief. This is the active and voluntary use of the imagination, in contrast to the passive and involuntary acceptance of appearances. It is by this active and voluntary use of the imagination that the second man, the Lord come from heaven, is awakened in man. People call imagination the toy, the faculty of dreams, but in reality it is the true portal of reality. Imagination is the way to the desired state, it is the truth of the desired state and the life of that state. If you could fully understand this, then you would know that what you do in your imagination is the only important thing. Within the circle of our imagination, all the drama of life is staged repeatedly. Through the bold and active use of imagination, we can extend our hand and touch a friend 10,000 miles away, and bring health and wealth to the dry lips of their being. It is the way to everything in the world. How else could we function beyond our physical limitations? Imagination is the way to live our dreams in the present. Through the portals of the present, all time must pass. Imagine elsewhere as here, and then as now. Experiment and see. You can always tell if you have managed to transform the future dream into a present fact by observing your internal conversation. If you are internally saying what you would say aloud if you were physically present and physically moving in that place, then you have succeeded. And you can prophesy from these internal conversations and the moods they awaken in you what your future will be. For only one power makes a prophecy, the imagination, the divine vision. Everything we find is our word made visible, and what we do not understand now is related by affinity to the recognized forces of our own internal conversations and to the moods they awaken in us. If we don't like what is happening to us, it is a clear sign that we need a change of mentality. For man is told that he does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And having discovered that the mouth of God is the mind of man, a mind that lives on words or internal conversations, we must feed in our minds only loving and noble thoughts, for with words or internal conversations we build our world. Let the lordly hand of love quench your hunger and thirst for all that is noble and of good repute, and let your mind go hungry before raising your hand to a cup that love did not fill, or a bowl that love did not bless, so that you never again have to say, "What have I said? What have I done?" Oh, human words, so powerful. And so we come to the end of another lecture by Neville Goddard. To hear more about Neville, subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave your like on our video. Until the next video, remember, your internal words are the mold of your external reality. Choose wisely and consciously create the life you wish to live. To further enrich our understanding of the power of internal dialogue and its transformative potential, let's explore 2 additional subtopics that are closely related to the original text's essence. The first subtopic we'll delve into is the neuroplasticity of self-talk. Recent advancements in neuroscience have revealed fascinating insights into how our internal dialogue shapes our brain structure and function. This aligns remarkably well with Goddard's teachings about the power of internal conversation to shape our reality. Neuroplasticity refers to the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. This process is influenced by our thoughts, behaviors, and experiences, including our self-talk. When we engage in positive, affirming internal dialogue, we strengthen neural pathways associated with confidence, resilience, and success. Conversely, negative self-talk reinforces pathways linked to anxiety, self-doubt, and failure. This understanding adds a new dimension to Goddard's concept of changing our internal conversation. When we consciously choose to speak to ourselves in a way that aligns with our desired reality, we're not just changing our thoughts, we're literally rewiring our brains. To apply this neuroplastic perspective to our practice of internal dialogue, be consistent. Regular practice of positive self-talk strengthens the associated neural pathways. Be specific. The more detailed and vivid your internal dialogue, the more areas of the brain you engage. Engage emotions. Coupling positive self-talk with positive emotions enhances neuroplasticity. Be patient. Just as it takes time for new neural pathways to form and strengthen, it may take time for your new internal dialogue to feel natural and for its effects to manifest in your external reality. Practice mindfulness. Being aware of your current self-talk patterns is the first step to changing them. The second subtopic we'll explore is the quantum field and internal dialogue. Quantum physics suggests that at the most fundamental level, reality is not fixed but exists as a field of possibilities until it is observed. This aligns with Goddard's assertion that our internal dialogue shapes our external reality. According to quantum theory, our thoughts and intentions interact with this field of possibilities, influencing which potential reality we experience. Our internal dialogue can be seen as a form of intention setting, collapsing the wave function of possibilities into specific experiences. This perspective offers a scientific framework for understanding how our internal conversations can shape our reality. It suggests that when we engage in internal dialogue that aligns with our desired state, we're not just changing our mindset, we're interacting with the quantum field in a way that increases the likelihood of that reality manifesting. To leverage this quantum perspective in our practice of internal dialogue, embrace uncertainty. Recognize that multiple possibilities exist simultaneously. your desired reality is one of these possibilities. Focus on feeling. Quantum entanglement suggests that particles can be connected regardless of distance. Similarly, by feeling the reality of your internal dialogue, you may be entangling yourself with that possibility. Maintain coherence. Just as quantum systems can maintain coherence, maintain consistency in your internal dialogue to strengthen its influence on the quantum field. Practice non-attachment. While maintaining your desired internal dialogue, avoid obsessing over specific outcomes. This aligns with the probabilistic nature of quantum reality. Recognize interconnectedness. Your internal dialogue doesn't just affect you, it interacts with the quantum field that connects all things. By integrating these scientific perspectives with Goddard's teachings, we can approach the practice of internal dialogue with a deeper understanding of why and how it works. We're not just changing our thoughts, we're reshaping our brains and potentially influencing the quantum fabric of reality itself. As we conclude this expanded exploration, I invite you to reflect on the profound implications of these insights. How might your practice of internal dialogue change if you fully embraced its neuroplastic and quantum nature? What reality could you create if you consistently aligned your internal conversation with your deepest desires? Remember, you are not just a passive observer of your life, but an active creator. Your internal dialogue is a powerful force shaping your brain and your reality. By understanding and leveraging these principles, you can become a more effective co-creator of your life experience. I encourage you to take this knowledge and put it into practice. Start by becoming aware of your current internal dialogue. Then, consciously choose words and conversations that align with your desired reality. Be patient and persistent, knowing that you're not just changing your thoughts, but reshaping your brain and interacting with the quantum field. And most importantly, be compassionate with yourself as you embark on this journey. Changing deeply ingrained patterns of internal dialogue takes time and practice. Every step you take towards more empowering self-talk is valuable. Thank you for joining me on this profound exploration of the power of internal dialogue. May your journey be filled with transformative conversations with yourself, leading to the manifestation of your highest aspirations. Until we meet again, remember, your words create your world. Speak kindly to yourself, speak boldly of your dreams, and watch as your reality transforms to match the beauty of your internal dialogue. In the silence of your mind, in the privacy of your thoughts, you hold the power to shape your destiny. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, and use it to create a life that reflects the grandest version of who you can be. The stage is set, the script is in your hands. What story will you tell yourself today? The choice, as always, is yours. Speak your truth, live your dreams, and let your internal dialogue be the catalyst for the miraculous unfolding of your divine potential.